Okay, we are live. Ramon, you ready to get nuts?
I am ready. Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it. On today's episode of Playing Small is Cancelled, we have a very exclusive treat. He's a dynamic entrepreneur and small business guru who has started 5 businesses and successfully sold 3 of them, no big deal. A thought leader in personal branding, he educates and inspires thousands of business owners every year through his engaging articles, podcasts, and media interviews, Big Facts. He's a prolific author with 5 books under his belt, including The Impactful Celebrity CEO, and is a contributor to entrepreneur.com as well as blackenterprise.com. No big deal. His high energy and genuine care for connecting with his audience make him a sought after motivational speaker and event host. Big Facts. Please welcome the innovative, passionate, and influential, the handsome and abundant Ramon Ray. How you doing, Ramon?
Come on, Craig. I'm good. I love how you add I'm going to call it your air quotes as you go along with it. Big facts, big stuff, notable. I like this style.
Good. I like to set the tone, and I know you know a thing or two about energy. Your energy is unmatched. So I'm super
Thank you.
excited for today. For our listeners, it's episode 10 of Playing Small is Canceled. We're looking to build out the LinkedIn profile as well. If you're not familiar with Ramon, my best suggestion, do a deep dive, play catch up, check out all the unbelievable stuff he's got going on. What I think is most valuable today is we just dive in and have an unbelievable conversation. Before we begin, I have a little icebreaker for you. You ready for me?
I'm ready for you, man.
What does it mean for you to live an authentic life?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it means to be you, but not be a jerk. I can go longer, but I think it means to be you, be who you are. But I do think some people I'm authentic. I pick my nose and rub it on people's shirts. Well, I don't know if that's so authentic. That's just not being nice. So I think authentic, though, is embracing who you are, understanding who you are, and God's made us so unique.
Absolutely love it, brother. Was that always relatively easy for you? Because for me, it actually took 35 years to build an authentic life, or did that kind of come natural?
I think 80% was natural. I've kind of been who I am. I like to tell jokes. I'm a jokester. I don't take myself too seriously, although I take my work too seriously. I move very fast. That's always been me, even in my personal life, Craig. But I do think, ironically, the last year or two, I've really honed in, and even more recent, last few months, honed in. Ramon is a certain way how he shows up. So I never want to be offensive, as it were. Like, I don't want to be that jerk as using that word, but I'm honing in. This is me. I'm going to always speak fast, to the point, and have a lot of fun. And if you don't like that, I'll be empathetic to you, but I'm going to have a lot of fun.
I love it. And also, like, spoiler, when you really begin to be yourself and show up as the real, raw, authentic version of you, you're not going to be for everybody in this world. And that's okay, right?
That is right, Craig. Exactly right. And so, hence, my point is, I think you're hearing what I'm trying to say. The balance of not that I'm trying to be nice or tiptoe around, but I'm happy with Craig saying, you know what? I don't like guys who have, blue bowls behind them. Not my thing. We're good. No problem. See you later. See you later. We're good. No harm, no foul. Exactly right.
Yeah, I love it. Hell of an icebreaker, and one of the many reasons why I wanted to collaborate with you is your authenticity. There's only one of you, brother, and you're not afraid to really be yourself. And this day and age, especially with social media, where there's a big platform, you can tell who's really themselves and who might be putting on a little bit of a front. So I just wanted to acknowledge you for your awesome, genuine authenticity that you show up with.
I'm trying. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And there's so many places we can take this conversation. I want to make the most of every second. One of the really cool things you talk about is community. And I'm big on community. I think it's so special, especially this day and age. But there's a big misconception between the difference between a community and an audience. How important is it for you to build a community? And what do you think the difference is between a community and an audience?
Wow, Craig, I love it. If I tell you, I love to hear from you what you think it is too. But audiences, New York Times has an audience, CNN has an audience, Fox News has an audience. Audience is kind of its one way, what you share to the people. You're a news dispensation. Hey, I'm Craig. Good morning. That's an audience. Hey, I'm Ramon. Here's how you comb your hair or brush your hair or don't do anything to your hair. That's an audience, and that's important. Kind of one way you're dispensing the information. People are scrolling, reading, whatever they're doing. But community, that's that two-way thing. That's that where I'm serving you, you're serving me. I'm interested in who you are. It's two ways. Hey, how are things? Pause. Ramon, not so well. Well, here's my response. Look, it doesn't have to be that deep, but it's where there's true engagement. back and forth. So between the community host and the people in the community and community members to community members, that's community, genuine care.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a two-way street. And then also something that sticks out based on what we've been able to build is if you leave the room, the community is still thriving because they're amongst each other and supporting each other, as opposed to an audience that's only really there for the one person.
That's right. Absolutely. No, you're right. Exactly right. And so I think that's the power of it as you build a community for those who are listening, those who are on their own. You're building, it's Ramon, it's Craig. You start there, but you're right. That's where as Jim Collins would say, kind of in flywheel, where the flywheel starts to go better and better. That's where without you, the community still works and still soars.
So good. I love it. Just straight off the cuff, I wanted to ask you, you have so many different things going on. It's awesome. It's so impressive. What are you personally most excited about right now?
Yeah, two things. Zoneofgenius.com, it's a startup. It's new. Nothing to sell anybody on anything. But since you asked me, I've started several blogs, smallbiztechnology.com, smarthustle.com, Small Business Summit. That's what I do, kind of the media space. And so Zone of Genius, I'm excited to see how it serves people in the next 2 to 3 years, where it goes. So that's one. I think the second thing I'm excited about is my traveling is picking up, Craig. And again, I do so many things, but I love going to large user conferences and interviewing people. And it's part of, in a way as well, an income source. Large brands work with me, say, Ramon, can you bring your lights, camera, action and interview us or do some content at our big events? So I like doing that, traveling to, not Denver, San Diego, Las Vegas, Atlanta, to Nashville, to some big events, setting up a podcast, a microphone, and doing what we're doing right here. I love that. I can do it all day long.
I love it, and I love your interview style specifically. And there's so many people out there that just it's kind of redundant, like they ask the same questions. It kind of gets boring sometimes. I'm curious for you personally, what do you think makes a really good, deep, relatable interview?
That's a great question. I think that knowing your audience and knowing you, like you said before, I can't be Craig. Craig can't be me. So you have to do what you see fit, right? That's the beauty of life, the beauty of this media that we're in. It doesn't have to be the same. But for me, I think it should have a bit of engagement. Maybe I do a little more than others, but it should have a bit of engagement. Get to the point. Number three, and really, I think the biggest thing, Craig, is you said I'd be useful for your community. Know what does your community want? What are you trying to build? Why are you trying to build it? What does your community want? People like Tim Ferriss, that's just one I can think of, or this new podcast called, I think, Acquired. People say that goes for 3 hours, 2 hours, long time. Their audience loves that. Craig, for me, my attention span, dude, after 20 minutes, I start to twitch a bit. I start to itch. I'm like, you know what? I got to wrap this up, meaning not you interviewing me, but if I'm doing it, because it's my show. So I think a little bit of engagement, know your audience, be informative, if that's the purpose of it, be informative, be consistent, and start to build your audience, and if you wish, your community.
Yeah, beautifully said, brother. I just love your energy. I love your mission, your heart. And one of the things that you talk about often that you're so good at is building a personal brand. It's very impressive. And I'm a big believer in, I reinvented myself in the pandemic. Prior to that, I spent 13 years on Wall Street, totally different conversation, totally out of alignment. But when I started this, I really just wanted to help people. And I finally found my calling. And one of the things that I realized that I needed to do so I can extend my reach, so I can help as many people as I can, because at the time I had no following or anything like that, was to build a personal brand. And I think that everybody listening, the people that will catch this replay, I think a personal brand is advantageous for everybody, even if you're not necessarily an entrepreneur. What do you think are some of the benefits about building a personal brand?
Listen, personal brand is essential, and shout out to Neil Sangel. Thanks for saying hello. I think personal brand's everything. I talk about this on the Celebrity CEO Principles, and we have the corporate brands, Craig, as you know, brands Starbucks, Samsung, AT&T, Panera Bread, whatever you want. Those are weird examples. But that personal brand's me, how I show up, how I laugh, how I shake hands, how I look, how I feel, how I speak, the telegraphy of my voice. That makes up some components of the personal brand. And that goes back to, you can have 2 lawyers, 2 accountants, 3 branding people, 2, whatever it is. Each one will be slightly different. The core bedrock of what they say, that's going to be the same, Craig, right? There's only one or a couple ways to optimize funnels, but how people deliver it, that's going to be different. And that's the beauty of us all. And I encourage entrepreneurs, you really want to hone in on what is your personal brand and how can you maximize it for the success of your business.
Yeah. So, and also a personal brand is yours. It's recession proof. Nobody can take it away from you, right? So even if you wanted to reinvent yourself or maybe change your trajectory, you're never really starting from scratch because you built that brand and there's a baked in community, so to speak, and you can take that with you wherever you go.
That's right. Absolutely. And the only person who can destroy that brand, Craig, is yourself or myself.
Yeah.
Is messing up.
It's so true. And also, like, if you have social media, you really are a personal brand, right? I feel like it's the modern day reputation, so to speak. And I would just encourage everyone not to scare them, but to just be intentional, right? The camera's always on, so to speak. Whatever you post, whatever you do, think of yourself as a brand, and that is the modern day credibility and reputation. And oftentimes, like nowadays, you go to apply for a job or something like that, they might look at your social media the same way they look at your resume.
That's right. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I think that's so true. And I think that's where you build that body of work and keep doing the consistent work over and over, day by day by day, the body of work over and over and over again, to success. So yes, 100% on that.
Yeah, love the alignment here. Easy to talk to. So much fun. You mentioned before celebrity CEO. I know that's one of your things and so forth.
Mhm.
For people listening right now, what does it mean to be the celebrity CEO of your industry?
Absolutely. And I encourage people, listen for free. There's all kind of information out there. You can just look up celebrity CEO Ramon Ray. You'll see webinars and seminars and all kind of thing I've done. But Craig, many people are looking for money. They're looking for the sale. And that's so important, Craig, for sure, to get the sale, to make the money, to get that. But I'm a firm believer, before you make the sale, as you hinted before, just build community, build a fan base even of people who know, like, and begin to trust you. My friend John Jantz talks about that in his book, Duct Tape Marketing. So my point is, build that, build just, hey, I'm here. I have a solution for you. If I can serve you, let me know. Not trying to get the sale yet. You build up 10 of those, 20 of those, 100 of those, 1,000 of those, you're guaranteed to have one person buy from you. And you rinse and repeat, rather than that one person buys from you. That's it. They bought from you. So I'm a firm believer that you can be well known in your industry, well known in your geographic area of the world, and be a larger fish in a smaller pond, rather than being a smaller fish in a huge pond and really being unknown, which is what it is to not be the celebrity CEO.
I love that. And so many people want to go wider, but I think it's sometimes more advantageous to go deeper
Yeah.
and really stick that flag in the ground and build upon who you are. Who are you the hero for? And double down on that.
That's right. No, for sure. And I think that, again, there is a time to go wider, and you don't want to maybe go too narrow, but I think that, yeah, Craig, I'm a firm believer that people doing a similar thing, which many of us are, calling out those people. Hey, we're helping not just women be healthier, we're helping women over 40 that have kids that are home and preschool and are single, or whatever it may be, or are married. You know what I'm saying? So going there, you're doing a call out to that right audience that is best for you.
Yeah, so good about that. I was looking at your content, which I highly suggest everybody do immediately follow the conversation on all the platforms. And one thing I saw you talking about was being unapologetically not boring.
Absolutely.
And I got to tell you, first of all, I want to acknowledge you because you nailed it for you personally. And also, it's like sometimes it's not as important as all the wisdom that you have, but maybe how you deliver it, where you can really create a connection where people can actually consume it and apply it. And I give an analogy, like we've all had that really, really smart teacher back in the day if we went to school, and they were just super boring and you couldn't even stay awake, even though they were really smart. So it's so advantageous to use that word again, to if you are communicating or a speaker or in any fashion you want to relay a message, to make it compelling where people are interested and excited, not just want the information, right?
That's right. The excitement is very important. Again, what people are saying is important to some degree, for sure, Craig. I know you know that the information, people are listening, but Craig, I think the how is equally important. I love the analogy you said in the class: 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. And if from the 4, see, Craig can't even take it. From the 4, you add 2, you'll get 6. Really? An hour of that? Same information, but you add something to it, it'll pop and sizzle. So yeah, Craig, I'm all with that. I think the how, and I think that's, and we all, Craig, also, we have to be who we are. Taking some of the legends of business thought leaders, Seth Godin, Simon Sinek, Brene Brown, right? Eric Thomas. These are all 4 people who speak a bit different. Some speak wildly different. Eric Thomas, kind of that gangster preacher, compared to Simon Sinek. 2 different ways, but both are engaging. Both have a special way they show up. I just saw a clip from Simon Sinek, had his green shoes on, leaning in on the seat, his accent. That adds a little bit of sizzle to it. Eric Thomas has his shorts on. You can do it too. Don't tell me you can't. Get up off your feet. Same content, as it were, just different styles. And again, you got a nice audience here, Craig. Shout out to the people here. Lisa is here, and Nil. I already shout out to Lisa, Nil Sungal, and others here joining. So thank you all for being with us, with me and Craig today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, amen. Agree with that. And also engaging. It's so important, guys. For anyone that has something important to say, whether it's a product or service, selling yourself or any capacity, it's so important to make yourself engaging so that you can
Mm,
grab people, especially in this day and age when like you said before, attention is like, nowadays like short form content, people
mhm,
only have
mhm.
very short attention spans. So if you're not even just a public speaker, if you're communicating and even to your kids, like just make sure that you put an emphasis on the delivery so that people are more likely to be able to consume it. I think that's a good life lesson for anyone, not just motivational speakers.
That's right. Absolutely. And it's so important. The delivery. And I want to shout out to the Ports. Michael and Amy Port have a place in Pennsylvania somewhere. I forgot the name offhand, but it's called Heroic Speaker. And they help people, to do a little to speaking and stage presence and how to move your hands. So those things, again, as you keep moving in your speaking career, they're helpful. So, yeah, for sure.
I love it. Another post that you had, which really moved me, was you talking about success and how it's not going to happen by accident.
Mm,
You actually have to go out and make stuff happen. I think
yes.
there's a little bit of misconception with this generation, or maybe just 2024 with instant gratification. But praying and being spiritual, that's all great. But you actually have to match that with a desire and make stuff happen, right?
That's right. No, you have to do it. I mean, again, I think it's okay to sit and pray and wish and hope. And of course, you're praying to, I'm a firm believer in prayer, but I believe the action is important. You're wondering, taking the example of the fish. I'm sure you've heard it or you'll get the analogy quickly. I'm hoping for a fish, and I'm throwing my rod and reel and the hook into the sand. Doesn't work that way. When I think of the opportunities I've had, Craig, I don't really believe in luck so much. I like the word serendipity better, or making luck happen. If I want to meet UFC fighters, Craig, only a few places I need to go to bump into a UFC fighter, right? Yeah, I'm not going to find them in a ballerina gym, maybe. So my point is, or they could if they're learning how to dance and move, but you know what I'm trying to say. So make your own luck as you're moving along life's journey. The best way to do is find out where the people are who you want to be around, where are the people that you want to get more from, and surround yourself with them.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Before we land the plane, I want to hit on a couple cool things that you did. You were
Please.
invited to the White House to talk about personal branding. Is that right?
I was. It was an amazing experience.
I'm sure people listening, wait a minute, what? How did that even come about?
Yeah, I got a letter. It could have been an email or phone call first. I'm not sure, but I got a letter or a phone call from the executive office of the president. And it was an honor, Craig, to know that, wow, my personal brand extends to the White House. Somebody there has seen the body of work that I've done. And that was enough for them to say, Ramon, please come to the White House and help the president's staff in their personal brands. That was cool. And it works. It shows you, as people have a very narrow need, they're going to Google, they're going to search, they're going to look around. Who are the people, as Seth Godin talks about Purple Cow, who are the people that can best serve this need? And if you've been being consistent, you've been making a ruckus, as Seth Godin says, you've been making noise in the marketplace, you've been showing up, you've been consistent, you've been honorable, you've been doing it over and over and over again, eventually somebody's going to find you. No
Yeah,
question about it.
I agree. And a couple things that come to mind that you described is number one, obviously consistency, because you got to be consistent, but also
Mhm.
like being intentional,
That's right.
right? Like I haven't read all his books by any means, but I imagine what they talk about is if you're making noise in the marketplace for a good amount of time consistently
Mhm.
about a specific topic, people are going to begin to associate you as an expert in that particular field, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's how you grow. That's how you grow. And again, hopefully you are the expert. And the good thing about that, the more and more people that say you are the expert, you are. I think of when I did smarthustle.com. After a while, I was the publisher of smarthustle.com. Out of nowhere, yeah, I built the creds to do it, and now Zone of Genius. So my point is, Craig, same with you. Not that you're self-anointing yourself with nothing to back it. As my friend Amelia Antonetti would say, you have to have the receipts. But if you have the work and the body of work done, yeah, start saying what you are. Stop saying who you are. Start saying it. Other people will say it. Now it's locked in.
That's it. You mentioned Zone of Genius a couple times. For people listening, like, what is that? How do I get involved? What exactly is that?
Yeah, I was sitting in church one day, and a friend of mine was playing the bass guitar, Craig. And I just looked at him, and I was like, my man's in his zone of genius. Literally, it sounds corny, but that's how it was. Right then on the spot, I looked up the domain and saw, is the domain name free? It was. I bought the domain name and I said, great, I'll build a media company around this. So that's what it is, zoneofgenius.com. We serve entrepreneurs, small business owners, and help them get into their zone of genius.
I think that's such a cool nugget right there because so many people know, and if you just look at the data, it's a little bit overwhelming. A lot of
Mm.
people know that they're here for more. They're not necessarily satisfied. And what I noticed is a lot of people are like, well, I don't know what my passion is. I
Mm.
don't have it. I don't know what to do. But you saw something, you created a goal. I want to build a media company around that name. And then after that, you didn't have it all figured out. You awakened a desire and a hunger for that.
Come
So
on now.
yeah, because I've been wrestling with years. I always ask, we have some of the biggest names in the world on my podcast. I always ask, like, can you teach desire? That's one thing
Mm.
that I just don't know. But what I recently was able to figure out is that if you have a goal, you can awaken a desire or hunger for that goal. It looks like you might have done something similar once you took out the domain name.
I love it. You awaken it. You awaken it. Correct. And that was just, again, part of something that was already awakened in me now, but there's a good lesson for others to help small businesses. So before that, smarthustle.com, I sold it. Smallbiztechnology.com, I sold it. Small Business Summit, I sold it. So Zone of Genius was still within the purview of my whole passion to help small businesses grow and succeed, that within the purview of that, and that continued. Yes, the awakening aspect of, hey, let me keep going. So I never want to sit on my laurels or let my dreams go to the side for sure. Ever, ever, ever.
I love it. We'll end up playing with this final nugget and we'll do a quick, fun, rapid fire. I don't
Please.
want to go too heavy into this because I want people to actually, once they hang up, to read all your stuff and learn more. But what is maybe something tangible that anyone listening today they could put towards their blueprint for utilizing social media to attract the ideal customer or to leverage their current business?
Hmm. Some of you are one of two things, and both are not good. You're afraid or you're selfish or too selfish. Those who are afraid, you're never posting, never doing video. You're afraid and waiting for perfection. Perfection is never going to come. She is never coming. She's at home right now and will never leave her home. Stop waiting for perfection. Number two is the aspect of being too selfish. Being too selfish. And all you're doing is selling, 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 selling. No value. That doesn't work as well. So I challenge people today, stop waiting for perfection. She's never coming. And stop being too selfish, because then you're not serving your audience. So as you get over those two things, take your phone out, wipe it off. We don't want to see any grease on and all that kind of thing. Don't go, have some good lighting and make your first post and start adding value on social media, because somebody needs to hear from you.
I mean, that's an 8-figure nugget right there. And one of the chapters in my book was called Messy Action. Right when I reinvented myself, I had no following at the time. I gave myself permission to be less than perfect. And I love to say, if you're not embarrassed with who you were a year ago, you're probably not growing enough. Who cares? Just get out there, get in the damn arena. And once you take some messy, bold action, in my opinion, that's when you allow the spirituality, some surprise support, some assistance to meet you halfway. But you'll never experience that unless you get over the fact of needing to be perfect.
And Craig, while we're at it, do you mind, because since this is a shared platform now, as you know, we talked offline, can you tell the remote audience who may not know about Craig, your audience knows you, and thanks for introducing me to your audience. Can you just, I know it's your show, but I'm going to take over the show for 2 seconds.
Please.
Can you just tell my audience a little who you are, your book and all that? Because you're also speaking to my audience now, which is really cool.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So my name is Craig Siegel. I reinvented myself in the pandemic. Prior to that, I had spent 13 years on Wall Street and I was making money. And at that time of life, I considered that to be success. And, I was a little more unenlightened back then. And to be clear, making money is absolutely a part of success, but not even close to the whole thing. And I just found myself in a really dark place because, like we discussed earlier, I was a gladiator in the wrong arena. I knew I was here for something more. And so I was looking for something. And I started running all these marathons, which is a big deal for me because I was never a runner. And I started running fast. But really what it did is it showed me that I could be successful at something that I didn't necessarily have experience in. And then fast forward the pandemic, I shut down my office for what I thought would be 2 weeks. And I just said, if not now, then when? And like you talked about earlier, you got to make stuff happen. And so had a spiritual moment, really connected, was able to block out the noise, the ego, the opponent, the self-doubt. And I just asked myself, what do I love? What can I help people with? What am I obsessed with? And it started to come to me like that. I love personal development. I've been studying 15 years, helping people move money, belief, spirituality, all that stuff. And so I realized the biggest cost of all is the cost of inaction. And so I finally had that clarity. I took some messy action. I started putting out content. And for the first time in my life, I was in alignment, and the universe liked that. And over the last 3.5 years, the brand's exploded, speaking all over the world, launched our book,
Mm.
Reinvention Formula, big podcast, 0.05%, coaching, speaking, all the things. Getting married in September wasn't only a career reinvention, it was a life.
Come on now.
My
Come
favorite
on
part,
now.
to be honest. Left Wall Street for good, and this is it. And I just love to help people tap into something bigger, find what they're here to do, channel the gifts that were given to them, make an impact, and unapologetically make a lot of money doing so. Kind of a
Mm.
long-winded answer, but you asked me, put me on the
No,
spot.
Craig, I love it. That's why I just, I know it's your show here, but since we're talking to a fresh audience, but please, back to you. I'm no longer the host, Craig. Thanks for letting me be the host for 2 seconds. The show's back to you now.
No, this is awesome. Thank you for doing that, brother. And again, I want to encourage everybody to get involved with all the stuff that you have going on. We're very selective with who we affiliate ourselves with. Ramon's on fire, and he's helping people, guys, in a big way. And personal branding, if you're not already going down that path, something to definitely equip yourself with some wisdom. We'll land the plane with a little rapid fire, maybe 1 or 2 word answers. We'll have a little fun. You ready for me?
Let's do it. Here we go. Here we
Let's
go.
go. Favorite movie?
Man on Fire, Denzel Washington.
Great one. Wow, love that one. Your last meal on Earth would be?
Butter chicken with biryani, with a side of chicken tikka masala, with pickle and naan, butter garlic naan, with a bottle of with a can of Coca-Cola.
You're pulling no punches, brother.
I'm pretending it's real, man.
That's the perfect answer. I love it. Okay, couple more. Your favorite guilty pleasure?
Oh, you don't want to know that, but I'm gonna tell you. It's to take Mrs. Smith's frozen apple pie, cut it in half, and you said 1 or 2 word answers. I'm sorry.
That's
Apple
okay.
pie. Okay, you
Apple
sure?
pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith's apple pie. I cut it in half, and I bought a special half apple pie holder, Craig. That's how gangsta I am about this. So I put the frozen pie. I found it online. It's a half apple pie pan. So I put the half apple pie in the oven, and then I get Haagen-Dazs strawberry ice cream. No other brand, Craig. Not Breyers, not ShopRite, not homemade, not from the Amish. I don't care who it is. Haagen-Dazs strawberry ice cream. You put that on the hot Mrs. Smith's apple pie, you go to a whole nother place.
Yeah. Oof. I love how, first of all, I love the storytelling. That was not boring. And also I love how intentional you are with that. It sounds great.
Come on.
Three more real quick. Favorite workout?
Push-ups.
Can't go wrong. Favorite book?
The Bible and The Like Switch by Jack Schaefer.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, sold. And last but not least, very deep stuff. Favorite musician?
Ron Canoli. He's a Christian artist. I don't listen to much music, so that's just one that came to mind.
I love it. Can't go wrong. This was awesome. Let's do something more for our listeners, and we're going to repurpose this on some other platforms. What's the best way for them to get involved? How can they follow along?
Sure. Go to zoneofgenius.com, zoneofgenius.com, and you can get everything you need to know about Ramon Ray.
I love it. Hang out for 1 second. I'm going to kick you after. Ramon, I want you to know the definition of authenticity, unbelievable energy and kindness. I could personally guarantee your best yet to come. Thank you so much for stopping by today and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets.
My pleasure.
It was great.